Hello and welcome to another episode of the Business of Business podcast. I hope everybody's doing fine. Today we have a great guest. We're going to just jump right in. Marcia Riner she is the CEO and Chief Strategist at Trajectory Consulting. And man, what a time to talk about strategies. I know that we've had with COVID, I know there's a lot of people that are hurting really bad, a lot of businesses, people changing their business models. So first off, Marcia, welcome to the show. Thanks for taking time out of your day to be here. I can't wait to jump into it. I'm sure there's something I can learn for myself as well. So
thank you. I'm so happy to be here. This is so, and it's such an important topic to have business owners really get a good grasp on this right now, especially as we're, kind of winding down the year and preparing for next year. Between you and I, 2020 sucked for business owners. It was just really a thorn. It was a horrible time. And so I'm hoping that I can share a few ideas and some thoughts that will help your listeners make something better.
It's times are trying now, but you actually said something very poignant on your website. And, as a consultant, run into the same thing. You said, let's knock some dust off of that plan. And so a lot of times, even with action items that I provide to customers that at some point you revisit and you see it on the shelf, the beautiful work you did, and then it's all dust covered like nobody's picked it up. So this is important. It's important now with the pandemic for sure. The businesses, like I said, some people hurting really bad, but some people have had to change their strategies. But then also, even if things are going well for you, I think you would agree that this is something that it should be a living, breathing document. It's not like we did a plan 10 years ago, so we're set for the rest of our business life and we're just done. It should be reevaluate. And this is a perfect time of year too, I think. Again, I'll let you kind of weigh in on that, but this is a great time of year. Things are slowing down and we can really plan and prepare to kick off the next year fast.
Absolutely. And you took the words right out of my mouth. A business plan, what normal people do, first of all, a business plan's not a dirty word. People tend to think about it as it's something that they do when they start up their business, or maybe it's something that they do when they need to go get financing, or they're looking at adding a partner on their business. But my belief is that businesses need to have this plan readily available. Prime real estate on the desk is what I like to refer to, is that it needs to be open and referred to constantly. Every business decision that you make in your business should be referenced or at least consulted with this plan. My plans are so much more than just a business plan. I kind of say it's a business plan on steroids, but if you think about it, it's a profit plan. And this profit plan is designed to get your business moving in the right direction. And like I said, most people just created one time in their life and put it up on the shelf, and it's dusty and moldy and outdated, and really was kind of probably rushed to put together for some sort of reason, and they didn't put their energy into it. And I think that it's something that really could guide your business.
Yeah, and it's not a sign of a poor plan or a weakness that even if you're into a plan 3 or 6 months, that you actually look at tweaking that thing, because once you've started the journey, things become so much more clear than when you're at the starting line and you really don't know what you're going to, not only the external environment changing, but also the internal environment.
Well, yeah, if it's out on your desk, like I said, with that prime real estate, then you have the opportunity to tweak. And if you can envision a sailboat, and I'm not a big sailor, but we've all been on a sailboat at one way or time, but the sailboat goes one way and then it tacks and then it goes the other way and then it adjusts and it goes the other way. Your business is not a straight line. There's constant movement involved with it. And if you're not referring back to your strategy or your plan, then how do you know if you're off keel? How do you know if you're too far to the right or too far to the left if you
Right.
don't refer back to it all the time? So I think that that's a really good point that needs to be made. And you can only do that if it's designed properly and it's opened on your desk.
Exactly. Yeah, not like, where did I put that thing 6 years ago? I know it's in here
Right.
somewhere.
Many people do a life insurance policy and they get it done and they throw it at their desk, and they don't tell their family anything about it, or they don't refer to it, or they don't refresh it. Many of these
Yeah.
things just need to be they need to be looked at frequently. So in my belief, let me kind of give you an idea on it. So my business plan or profit plan has five, actually six key categories to it. Your first piece is your financial foundation, and this is all about your numbers. Where's your income coming from? Where's your spending coming from? How are you? Where's it? What are you doing with it? Are you on track for your numbers and your goals and stuff? It's all about numbers and money. It's a little bit of a rough part, but it's the first thing.
Right.
Then you've got your organizational platform. Who, why, where, when, how? Who's doing this stuff for you? And if you have that piece, all that plan put together, then you know who's helping you serve your clients and how you're doing it. Then you've got your product power. How do you know that this is the right product or service for your ideal client if you don't create and design your offer in a way that is very attractive to your client? Then these three pieces put together help you create your marketing directive. And that marketing directive is going to put everything you're about and who you're going after and what you're going after them with in a strategy, so you can go out to your marketing team and they can have very effective marketing for you to make people come in and throw their credit cards at you. And then the fifth part of that plan is your growth strategy. So now that you've got all this doing, where are you going? Right? You know where you are now. Now the next step is, where are you going? And then if you could stack all these together with actionable items, you'll come into the office every day and you'll know exactly what you need to be doing each day to achieve the goals that you're setting in place for you. So it is really a business plan on steroids, or 5, 6 business plans on steroids,
Right.
to put it
Right.
in there. And then now you're making a decision. So I'm thinking my business is growing a little bit. I need to hire somebody. How do you know how much you can pay them, what role they're going to be in, what effect they're going to have on there if you don't refer back to your plan?
Right.
So that's just
Yeah, and I
one
think it's
example of doing
important
that.
because there's a lot of resistance. Like, you know what? I don't care about all of that stuff. I just want to skip right to the growth part, and let's
Cut to
talk
the
about
chase.
the future. Yeah, but you know what? I guess the way I try to relate that, it's like, you're not quite this old, but back in the olden days when we actually had to have a map, a paper map in front of us to see where we were going. I may know I was going to Chicago, but if I didn't know I was starting in Fort Worth, Texas, how do you map out a road if you don't know where you're starting at? And I think that's so key to everybody, to set that firm foundation of where are we at today before we can talk about where we want to be tomorrow.
And along the way, do I go right or do I go left? Do I go on the freeway or do I hit, I don't know, I'm in California, so Route 66 will take us to Chicago. Or do I take
Right.
Route 66, or do I get on the highways that'll get me there
Right.
faster? I mean, there's so many ways to skin a cat, right?
Right.
You want to do it the most efficient and effective way. And unless you get down to the foundational pieces of your business, you'll always be struggling to make that dream that you want to dream, that you wanted at when you started your business. I mean, we all started our business to have some sort of freedom and get get away from the man,
Right.
and we wanted to have that freedom. But you know what? Most business owners trade one job for their own job, and they end up in that job working. I jokingly say that, you're self-employed, you get the luxury of choosing which 100 hours you want to work a week, right?
Right. Yeah.
Nobody thought that when they opened the doors, that they were going to be working their butt off.
Right.
If there's an easier way of running your business and making more money in it with the ultimate goal of having the lifestyle you dreamed of, wouldn't you want to do that rather than just trying to put that square peg into a round hole every day?
Right. Yeah, I mean, it can be the same treadmill unless we really, really plan. And, it takes a lot of work. And that's the thing. I was thinking about pricing. I had a gentleman, this has been years ago, but uh, he had a price that he charged for his service. And I'm like, hey, that's awesome. Where'd you get that? Like, well, the guy down the street charges, $5 more. Okay. So then we walk through. So what are the costs that are involved in providing the service? And, as it turned out, his cost for providing the service was much more than what he was collecting for the service. And so,
Mm,
trying to get that pricing component, because the other thing that I like to talk about with businesses, and probably why a lot of people got into business, is to deliver that value. And so that's an important part of the plan, is trying to decide what is the value that we actually provide. I mean, everybody can sell you a widget, but what's the value of buying it from me?
right. Well, that's a great question. And that's actually in my third piece, which is the product power, understanding what your customers are wanting and what you're delivering to them at a price they're willing to pay, right? And that
Right.
matches your needs to open the business. Um, and I want to say I think it's Dan Kennedy, so forgive me if I've quoted the wrong person, but there's a race to zero right now, in especially in the financial services world, where I had many years of being in business, where your value is no longer worth it because you can get it for much cheaper down the street. So I believe it was Dan Kennedy that said that if you're not the lowest priced person in your market, then there's no second prize for being the second lowest. So if you're
Right.
not the lowest, you might as well be the highest. And the only
Right.
way that you can be the highest is if you add tremendous value to where your customer looks at the opportunity of working with you, whatever you're doing, whether you're a dentist or an attorney or a lawn mowing company, whatever you're doing, if you're providing so much value that your customer goes, wow, that's a deal, but yet you're still more expensive than the other guy that's mowing lawns, they're going to come to you because you've given them value. And I think
Right.
that's the piece that you're talking to, is that but how do you know what your customers will perceive as value unless you've done the homework? And
Right.
I want to correct you on one little thing.
Okay. Certainly.
Making a business plan is not always hard. It's just a little bit of pre-filled out work that you have to do. And when you
Right.
have
Right.
someone that can guide you through the process and get you thinking about the answers and take your thoughts and put it into a, a, a well laid out and thought out plan, it's not that hard. It's actually easy.
Right, right. Yeah, and sometimes when we try to do these things on our own, we don't take the time and we don't know what questions. And that's why working with a professional such as yourself, it makes that process so much easier when you have somebody to guide you down that path, for sure.
I think that's the important
Yeah.
part. I often say that, we're not an island. No business owner has ever been successful and done it on his own, solely on his
Right,
own. There's
right,
always need for help to deliver your program or your product and service, and then there's help with you and your mindset, because you can't see the forest when you're looking through the trees.
right.
I'm all full of
Yeah, and it's
insights
just
today,
like,
aren't I?
well, and it's like hiring professional. We want to seek out a professional that focuses on that particular area of what we need. It's just like myself. I could probably do my own taxes and probably not have any trouble, but my
Should
tax
you?
lady, yeah, she
Should
reads
you?
all the bulletins that come in throughout the year, and so that's her area of expertise. And I think that's a good point, that we need to seek out. Again, it's not a sign of weakness. Sometimes, especially if we start our own business, we want to think that we have to solve all of our own problems. And I really don't subscribe to that. I think we need to reach out to professionals that do add value, to our organization as well, just like we want to add value to our customers.
So you can get from point A to point B, and you can, so say you want to go from the California coast and you want to get to Hawaii. You can get there by swimming. You can get there by rowing a boat. You can get there on a cruise liner, or you can get there on an airplane. So one's going to get you there faster and probably a little more money than swimming or rowing a boat, but you're still going to get there, right?
Right.
So why not use the skill set to get you to where you want to go faster? Why do you have to suffer through being a business owner when there's clearer paths right being handed to you? So
yeah, and it's not only about, the profits are nice, that finances our life, but we also have to think about our time. Excuse me, our time is money. And so like you were saying, if we are on this 100-hour-a-week treadmill and we're not enjoying the spoils of what we're doing. And I guess this is kind of fresh on my mind. I had a conversation with a friend the other day about, we, especially once you become a business owner, everything gets pushed off. I don't really have time for vacation right now. As soon as this happens, I'm going to do this. And it's like we push everything down the road. And so, like you said, if we can figure out a way to get there faster to not only make more money, but free up more of our time where we can do things that we enjoy, spend time with our families or whatever.
Right. So much more impact you can do when you're doing well. Right. Even if it's community and charitable things. It's going to your kid's baseball game, when you can. That's why we went to be a business owner, is to get those freedoms. But we've handcuffed ourselves and chained ourselves to the business desk, and we're again trying to force that square peg into a round hole and trying to carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. And it's not necessary. There's your way.
Right. So the you were talking about the first step is laying out your financials, kind of where we are today, looking at I'm assuming the revenue and the expense side, as well as if we own assets, the balance sheet as well. But
sure.
So in your experience, whenever you go through that exercise, are you able to find are you able to help some people with some unnecessary expenses, like pretty quick right off the bat? I mean,
of course. Yeah, like that dentist with the large fish tank in his office that he really doesn't need, Yeah, it's just we spend based on the income we have coming in.
Right.
And that's not that's the US lifestyle, that we've all grown, accustomed to, that hey, I'm making more money, I'm gonna go get a better car, or I'm gonna go get, or let's get new computers. The new iPhone's coming out, I've got to go get one. And yes, I did order. But I mean, we're in that rat race. And I think that, I heard this the other day, when it's all said and done, you're still a rat, right? So my suggestion to my clients, when I'm looking through their financials and I'm looking for the gaps and the ways that we can stretch and make more impact, I look at it from a formula of income plus expenses equals profits. And because every dollar you spend in your business should produce a return on that investment. So it's an investment back into your company. It's an investment that's going to produce more income for you. And eventually you're going to get that up here. Normally, when you're starting the business, there's a whole ton of expenses and very little income. But if you start spending strategically, you're going to get that income much higher. And then you're going to be able to do more with that income to produce more income. And, it becomes this vicious cycle. So that's my mindset on it. I mean, anybody can look at someone's budget, who's not emotionally engaged with it, and go, oh, what are you spending so much on that for? Get rid of it. That's not really going to help. But if you can make it a strategic spending strategy and you have it in there and you're saying, this investment in my business, this hiring of this person is going to free up my time so I can do more of what my magic skills are versus doing the accounting or
Right.
sweeping the floors or whatever it is that we shouldn't be doing, and allowing us to be at our highest best use. And therefore, in the beginning, it might feel a little tight, but by hiring that person, you're now creating so much more wealth and so much more growth potential. So it's just that, I hate the mindset kind of game and thinking, but it is something like that.
Yeah,
That
it
when you
is.
see the numbers and you project them out, you're going to go, oh, yeah, I can spend $2,000 a month on hiring Jill, because now that $2,000 a month is going to produce me $8,000 a month. Yes, that's a great deal. And so it's thinking about that money in a completely different way.
Right. Yeah, and I had a guy that told me one time that, well, we can't save our way to prosperity. We have to have that growth component. He told me that, $100,000 saved is $100,000. Where $100,000 in revenue is minus cost of goods and all your admin costs. So we think about it in those terms, and I'm the worst of anything. I pick up something here. This is 25 bucks. This is 25. And then, all of a sudden at the end of the day, I've got all these expenses that, I'd added on. And, sometimes it's good just to have that self check, to recalibrate. Do I really need that? Do I really need that?
Right. Or that dinner that you've been paying interest on for 6 months on that credit card, it was a nice
Right,
dinner, but it's
right.
gone through the system already. Yeah. It's just, it's
Exactly.
being conscious and it's being smart about it. It's not saying it's a diet, a budget is a forecast of what you have spent and what you think you're going to spend and what
Right.
you have had coming in income and what you project you're going to have coming in income. And it needs to end up at zero. So every dollar needs to be accounted for. Now, this could be technical babble for some of the listeners, but there's a rhyme and a reason for doing the things that we do. And if you just push through and try and go, well, I'm doing okay and I just need more customers and I'll be doing great. Well, if you're getting more customers, there's costs involved with that. And you may end up in a worse place than you did before with people you don't want to work with. So, I
Right.
mean, if you have a good plan and you know exactly who you're going after and what you're delivering, you may find that you're not even delivering the most valuable product to your customer at the best price. You could be delivering the tchotchkes that's keeping the door open, but you're not happy, nobody's happy. But if you transition a little bit into this over here, this might be the thing that's going to really blow up. Here you had to do 100 units a month to break even. Here you have to do 3 units to break even. And it's
Right.
much more enjoyable work. So if you don't know, you don't know, and you're missing out.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest thing that business owners, one of the biggest things that they're reacting through business rather than strategically planning for it, making it the
And
best that they can.
the other that brings up another good point about having a professional to work with is to keep us in check. We all think we may think it's a lot rosier. We may have projections that look really good on paper, but as
If
that
we project at all.
right. But if we have somebody there to help keep us in check, like really, if you're making 100 widgets today, why do you think you can make 1,000 tomorrow? And so having that voice of reason to say, is this really obtainable in this time frame? It's not that you can't do it, because I've done some pro forma work for some development, and they can project it. You can write anything on a spreadsheet you want to, and it makes it look good at the end of 2 years. Can you really do that? And in most industries or business, exactly, most businesses or industry, there are norms that you can look at to find, these are kind of the average monthly growth or whatever we're looking at, that you can, how much you can improve or how much you can increase. So
Well,
anyway,
let's build on that though. So if you're making 100 widgets and you want to get to 1,000 widgets, it's that map, right?
right,
So
right,
what do you need in place to do that? And is it cost effective? So then you're going to say, okay, in order to make 1,000 widgets versus 100 widgets, I have 2 guys making 100 widgets. To make 1,000 units, I probably need 5 guys to make 1,000 units. And so then okay, what's the cost of the 5 guys? You just start
right,
reverse engineering it, and
right, right,
then you can come in and go, okay, now I got to go find those 5 guys, and then I got to train those 5 guys. And so, it does become a more lengthy process. It's not impossible, but you can't just go, oh, well, I'm going to lose 10 pounds by the end of the week. Okay, if you don't eat and you sleep all 5 days beforehand,
right, right.
you may lose 4 of those pounds. I mean,
Right,
it's just the facts that you've got to be able to say,
right.
okay, what is necessary to achieve that goal, and reverse engineering. That's
Yeah,
a plan.
yeah. And again, it's got prime real estate on our desks. So 2 months from now, I can open it up and say, this is where I should be, 2+2 out into this plan. I should be, making, going along with our last thing, well, I should be at 120 widgets. And if I'm at 110, then, what is the problem? Because that is going to
You
extrapolate
can
out through
now make the
time.
shifts. Exactly. You can now make the shifts, because if you're not doing it,
Yeah.
so I don't know how many of y'all, I just started to learn how to shoot a gun. I'm not very good. I've got 2 different eyes and prescriptions and everything. So if you shoot a gun close, you can be a little off and still hit the target. But if the target's farther out and you shoot that gun and you're a little off, you're going to be way off. So it's that
Right,
little
right,
tweaks. And my belief is that this business plan, these strategies that you're laying out that are on your desk, if you're looking at them weekly, then you're going, oh, my goal this week was to do 10 and I did 8. So then next week I need to figure out how I can get 12. So then you're making the adjustments tactically. And if you did a
right.
12, then maybe you can do a 12 again. And now you're faster than you ever anticipated. And
Right.
that's not a bad thing. But I think
Yeah.
it's being able to make those little tactical shifts along the way. But if you do the
Right.
plan and you put it up on the shelf and you bring it out 2 months later, you're already too late.
Right.
Speaking of too late, it's never too late to create or work on a plan. You could do it July, you could do it November, you could do it January. If you don't get it done until April, I mean, any time is a good time to start working it, and you can work it from where you are right there and then.
Right.
But I have to say, holidays are coming. People think, well, I got to finish hard for the end of the year, or I'm going to take off and have time with my family. There's not enough time to do it. So what's going to happen? January 2021 opens up. You just had the worst year of your life for whatever reason. You could have had a great year in your life, but now you're ready to start new. Where are you going? What are you doing? Same old, same old? The same old will not take you to where you want to go.
Right.
So I encourage you to really consider putting something together. And even if you go about the same old plan, put action to it. The same old plan is usually, oh, well, I'm going to achieve this number of sales goals and I'm going to achieve that number. So there's my business plan, right? And here's what I
Yeah.
did last year. Well, there's so much more around that to really develop how you're going to do that. What tangible actions are you going to do to achieve what it is that you want to achieve? And you can't do that without doing the work. Doesn't need
Two
to be
things:
hard.
measurable, and actionable. We have to
Yep.
have something in there to take action, and we also need something to measure.
Yep.
If that action is getting us closer to where we want to be.
The new thing out here, and it's not really new, but manifest all of your dreams and they'll come true. No, they won't. You can dream about them, you can vision them, you can wish as hard as you can possibly wish, but unless you
Right.
say, this is what I'm going to do,
Right.
and then you go do it, nothing's going to happen.
Right.
You'll be wishing for it again next year.
Exactly.
So yeah,
Exactly.
just it's time,
Right.
especially
Now's the
now,
time. Yeah.
especially now with the sucky year we just had. It's time. It's time to
Yeah.
do things differently. It's time to look at your business differently. It's time to no longer survive in business, but I think it's time to start thriving in business.
Yeah.
And
We don't want to eat up the first 3 months of next year going through the same thing and then decide that we need to do it. Let's get it done now, start the year off fresh, and
totally,
start out, hard and fast.
totally,
Yeah.
100%.
Uh, Well, Marcia, I appreciate you taking time out of your day to be with us. Before we go, would you mind? So, what is a tool or a habit, a ritual, something that you do either in your professional or personal life every day that you just don't think you could do without?
This is something that's going to throw you guys for a loop because it's not what you think. I would say, yeah, this exercise in business and you're going to do that. But you know what? We are the fountain of life for our business. And our family needs us, our business needs us, we need us. So I believe that you need to take care of us first so we can take care of the business and our family and our friends and do the things that we want to do.
That's a
So
good
I'm a big proponent of exercise. So I think I get up in the morning. It's pretty ugly, but I get up in the morning, I walk my dogs because they're demanding it first, and then I go to the gym. And I try and get myself with enough energy and a clear mind. So when I sit down at my desk with my coffee, I've got the energy to do what I need to do
right.
and clarity and focus that I can get it done. If I'm not taking care of me, then I can't take care of my business.
Right.
So that's my one thing that's kind of left field.
Yeah.
But
No, that's a good point. And not only that, but for myself, I try to get up and walk the dogs as well. And it's when I seem to have my most creative thinking when,
right.
I'm not sitting in front of a computer. I don't have a phone, radio, TV, something else going. I can just get out in nature and walk. And it's like things become so clear. So,
Yep, because when we're sitting at the desk, we're trying to solve our own problems. We're trying to solve our clients' problems. We're putting the proverbial square peg into the round hole and we're trying to think how
right,
to let it fit. Sometimes it's just better to go, I'm going to walk away. I'm going to get some fresh
right.
air, a little bit of exercise, and then the puzzle pieces start lining up. And then it goes, oh, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and
yeah.
it's a whole nother episode. But I read a study not long ago that was just talking about our creativity has gone down because we're so tightly scheduled, and it kind of plays into this is that we need to schedule in some non-thinking time or non-busy time where we can just sit and be and think or walk, either one, but just give our
And
mind some
and get
time.
off the computer because this
Right.
Zoom world we're in, as we're on right now, and the fact that you don't have to drive anywhere anymore to make those appointments, you just jump here, so you do more stuff compacted in
Right.
and more video, that it's actually draining us a lot more. I mean, mentally, physically, emotionally. I mean, who wants to sit there and look at themselves all the time when they're talking? So when I talk to you, I move my picture over here so I can't see it. Otherwise, I'm like, oh, don't lean in a little bit more. But yeah, the almighty they say that, we're really hurting ourselves by
Yeah.
spending all the time. So that exercise is key.
All right. Well, there's going to be some people that want to get a hold of you to get started on that plan, some strategic planning for next year. So why don't you tell them how they can reach out and get a hold of you?
Thanks so much. So my company is Trajectory Consulting, and I go by Trajectory Biz, biz.com. And right now I have a super simple, easy jumpstart, 6 days. It's a sprint. So it's a way to kind of get the juices flowing and to start thinking about some little things that you can do. So I encourage the listeners to go get on www.bigprofitsprint.com and jump on. It's a 6-day plan, full action packed, and you're going to walk away with the starters and a foundation of a plan to get you going. And I promise you, your juices are going to get going. You're going to start coming up with some really creative ideas. And I'm a huge giver. So you're going to walk away with a whole bunch of strategies as well.
Awesome. Thanks for that. And also, you have your own podcast, Profit with a Plan. So be sure and give a listen. I know you have some awesome guests on there from time to time.
I do. So that is on, it's on profitwithaplan.com, or you can go on YouTube and just type in Profit with a Plan, and you'll find the versions there. I just recorded episode 80, so I'm striving for 100. Wow. And there's just been tons of really fabulous guests that came on and shared really great information. And it's all driving more profits and growth.
Right. All right. Well, thank you so much. Again, you can find us at www.thebusinessofbusinesspodcast.com. Again, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and Spotify, as well as the old favorites, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So until next time, I'm Roy. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Roy.